Red Sox salvage a big one today.
Well, he had to work core to get this one in that ninth, bringing all these guys off the bench, and of course Chapman coming in doing what he does. It's important. We've talked about it. No sweeps. You can't get swept, right? That's why this game was so important. Kind of calm the waters down a little bit going up into Sacramento. Get up there, try to win 2 out of 3, and hand the ball to the big fella tomorrow, Crochet. But huge hit from that man there, Nick Sogard, coming up big late.
So, look, I've known a lot of you for a long time. And when I say I've known a lot of you, we've never actually met, of course. But that's how this works. It's been 15 years. You go back to years at the Herald and the Globe, Jimmy Stewart's been a lot of baseball written about, talked about, etc. So I feel no shame in saying to those of you out there who are keeping an eye on the Red Sox, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried, maybe a lot worried. So the Red Sox beat the Diamondbacks yesterday in Arizona to avoid a 3-game sweep. They are, let me get the actual numbers for you so that I don't give you false information. In the wild card race, the Red Sox are now a game and a half behind the New York Yankees, 2 games in the loss column. So right now you're opening the playoffs on the road. And if you want to talk about the division, that really hasn't changed a whole hell of a lot. Red Sox 4 back in the loss column, 3.5 of the Toronto Blue Jays, who were slapped around by the Yankees pretty hard over the weekend. 617-779-0985 is your number here on the Baseball Hour. And I'll tell you this, that and I agree with Lou Merloni and I agree with Dave O'Brien, that you certainly want to avoid sweeps at this time of year. You have only 18 games left. It would be hard to miss the playoffs. But the Red Sox right now, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. With as banged up as they are and the way they look on the field, I am holding my breath a little bit, and I'm just trying to be honest with you. They are 5 games ahead of the Texas Rangers, who are currently the first team out of the playoffs that should be safe. But, as Jim Murray pointed out earlier today, Garrett Crochet on the mound against the A's in Sacramento, and you don't want to lose the Garrett Crochet games at this stage. Okay, you don't want to lose those. So again, 617-779-0985. Let me start with a very simple question. How do you feel about your baseball team? And if you think that they're going to get into the playoffs no matter what, God bless you. I don't. I am now a little worried after what I saw over the weekend. Payton Tolle got slapped around on Friday night and frankly kind of sucked. We'll get to him momentarily. Lucas Giolito is one of your 3 best starters. You lost that game on Saturday. Yesterday you had Brian Bayo going and pulled the game out, but the point being you nearly lost with 2 of your best 3 pitchers going in the Diamondbacks series. Now you're going against the A's. And you're going to throw Garrett Crochet in the first game. Good. After that, you're not going to see Giolito. You're not going to see Bayo. So, honestly, I don't care who goes to the mound after that because my confidence level in the Red Sox pitching at this point or in their overall ability to perform, given the state of mind and where they are, has me worried. I think this is a huge week coming up for the Red Sox. Again, 18 games to go. Garrett Crochet will pitch twice this week. By this time next week, we should have a better handle on whether they're starting to put it back together or whether or not they are further falling apart. So, there was something that happened in yesterday's game that is being described as a positive, and I would say that's largely true. But the fact that it happened should give you further cause for concern, and I'll get to it momentarily. But first, when I say the Red Sox haven't played well this weekend, Saturday night, for anyone who saw this, Jimmy, did you see any of the Saturday night game?
What a mess that was.
Okay, so mistakes everywhere, and mistakes that we've seen before, some that we haven't seen many of, at least some from people that we typically don't see many from. For example, key play early in the game, ground ball in the infield that could have been an inning-ending double play, instead turned into this.
Bases loaded, 2-0 pitch, and a ground ball to Story, and misplays it. Del Castillo in to score, McCann right behind him, throwing to second, won't get anybody. So on the misplay by Story, a couple of runs scored.
Wow, you just don't see it. You know, they come kind of charged to get this little short hop, and I don't even think it was a short hop. It was kind of still in the air. Maybe thinking of flipping it before he even got to it, but this is something we haven't seen from Story in a long time. You know, routine ground ball kind of kicking it. He's been so good all year. Routine play is a routine play to him. And that was a big one there. Maybe could have got him out of that inning.
Yeah, that seems like a case where he's trying to hurry it in order to give the opportunity for a double play, and ends up kicking it for a couple runs.
So now, look, say what you want about Trevor Story, whether you like him or you don't like him as a player. And I've heard nothing but good things about what kind of guy he is and what he is in the clubhouse and what he is on the team and all that I believe in. I've also, his glove, for the most part, has been very good. Not great, very good. And when he's made mistakes, the one thing I've criticized Story about, or I should say expressed concerns about with Story defensively, is his arm strength, which this year appears to have come back some. But his glove is pretty good. He gets near it, he fields it. He doesn't really screw up too many plays. He screwed one up on Saturday night. That play right there put Arizona ahead 3-1. They won the game 5-1. And it just wouldn't be a Red Sox series if you didn't have your typical miscommunication between the left fielder and the center fielder, otherwise known as Jarren Duran and Ceddanne Raphaela.
High fly ball into left. Duran moving over. And now called off, and Ceddanne is going to slide. He won't get it. It's going to roll all the way to the fence. And the runners move up to second and third. It's the second time in short order that those two have been looking at each other. The fly ball has fallen in on the warning track.
Ceddanne had no chance for this play. This was Jarren Duran's ball all the way. You see it slicing away from him. Look where Ceddanne is. This ball's, look how early he quits on it. And he gives up on it. And like you said before, like you mentioned it last time, I sort of just expect Ceddanne to catch everything, but he wasn't even close to it. This is Duran's balls. It's kind of slicing back to him, and now you're in a big jam.
So, Jimmy Stewart, what is the mental mistake count up on Jarren Duran now? Do we have a running total on that?
I have it as Jarren Duran on the J-Stu scoring system has 27 negative plays in the outfield this year.
And those are errors and plays that should have been errors. Is that the deal?
Correct. Yes, it's errors, it's misplays, and it's basically my subjective nature of what should have been scored an error and wasn't.
Okay, I don't know.
Minus 27.
So I don't know how many errors Jarren Duran has had this year. I'm trying to punch this up.
I bet you he leads Major League Baseball in them. I think it's 8. I think it's 8 actual errors.
Okay, so I got to look this up on Fangraphs because again, this is one of the ultimate nerd sites where they can give you every detail about every guy. I'm trying to get to his defense real quick here, so just give me a minute as I search around because he's played a couple of different outfield positions. So here, this year, right now, Jarren Duran has 7 errors. 7. That is low. That is low based on what the real number should be. I'm trying to punch up where he ranks defensively among left fielders in baseball, according to Fangraphs. In terms of errors by left fielders, they list him here with 6, so I guess one of his errors came in center. That is the third most among left fielders. There was no error on that play over the weekend. I'm just reminding you of that. In terms of defensive runs saved, Jarren Duran has 8, which is third best.
How is that possible?
So this is it, Jimmy. This is why some of these modern metrics are the stupidest thing ever. Because Jarren Duran covers a lot of ground. He gets credit for running balls down that other guys can't. And yet, a play like the one on Saturday happens because, frankly, he should just run over and catch the ball. But he has now created this situation where Raphaela kind of just loses his marbles when Duran's around because he's afraid he's going to get run into. Nonetheless.
Well, Lou said this on the broadcast on one of the games over the weekend that the reason why the Red Sox lead the majors in errors, defensive errors, is because they get to so many baseballs.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I don't either. But
I think they lead the league in errors because their second baseman has sucked for the majority of the season, and their left fielder drops balls constantly. Also, they have, in those, how many catcher's interferences do they have, let alone pass balls? So,
12.
do they have good speed? Yes. There is some truth to the theory that errors can be a byproduct of getting to more balls. Not with the way the Red Sox do it. I think that there's frequently a lot of the mistakes they make are stupid errors, and we'd have to go through and really assess the number of fielding errors they have versus throwing errors. Because I would, if that theory is accurate, if that theory holds water, that they get to more balls and they get more errors, then there shouldn't necessarily be throwing mistakes, right? I mean, that's just a theory. But it all ended up in a positive way yesterday because I feel compelled to play this. Red Sox got a major contribution, as you heard Maloney say a short time ago, from someone that is not necessarily a household name, though he has been here before, Nick Sogard.
Gonzalez leading off second. The go-ahead run for the Red Sox in the ninth. And a line drive into left field, dropping. It is a dive and a miss, and the run is in. It's going to go all the way to the wall. In to score Gonzalez. Eaton right behind him. The Sox in front, 6-4.
Oh, Nick Sogard coming off the bench. Pitch hitting late. The team's looking for a spark. And he stays on this pitch, drives it out there. McCarthy gives it a bid. But look at this. The split finger stayed up. Stays on it, and a big hit here from Nick Sogard. Two huge runs, and now the big fella can start throwing out there.
Gonzalez and Eaton come scampering home on the double. Sogard off the bench. And a giant hit here in Arizona to make it 6-4.
Okay, Alex Cora pulled some strings there. Again, Sogard comes off the bench, gets a big hit. So, key move by Alex Cora. Tip of the cap to him for that one. Sogard gets the hit. The Red Sox, by the way, in this game had trailed 3-1. The Diamondbacks had defensive breakdowns that let the Red Sox take a 4-3 lead. And then who the hell was it that was in the game that was pitching? Was it Zach Kelly? Somebody gave up a home run to make it 4-4. I was going back and forth with the football yesterday. So the Red Sox blew the lead, and then Sogard came in and rescued them. They get 3 runs in the top of the ninth. They win 7-4. And yet, I will tell you that maybe the most noteworthy thing that took place during that game yesterday occurred in the dugout, something done by Alex Cora that I think should give you some indication as to what the state of the team was yesterday in Arizona. We'll tell you what that was. We'll get to Payton Tolle's performance on Friday night because, boy, talk about coming back to earth. And all of your calls, I see you all lined up, so don't go anywhere. Matt, Anthony, Justin, Mark, and Mike. We'll get to your calls as well when we come back on the Baseball Hour. Payton Tolle's second major league start, not really much like his first. In fact, didn't even resemble it slightly. He had slapped around pretty good. 3 innings, 5 runs, I think it was, 2 home runs, an extra base hit, 4 walks, was kind of all over the place. Lou Merlone gave you a pretty good assessment of it there. I'll give you mine here momentarily, and I want to get to your calls. Let me just tell you quickly. Well, I'll tell you what, because I think this will lead into it. Justin in Nahant says the Red Sox might be in trouble, and I might be in trouble, and I think this will lead right into my point. Justin, what do you got?
Yeah, Tony, I couldn't agree with you more. I got into it last night with my brother. I'm talking to him. He says, they only got to go 500 to make the playoffs. This team is not a lot to go 500 the rest of the way. They got 3 pitches. The front office utterly let them down, whether it's Breslow, Henry, enough blame to go around. Giolito, up until a month ago, I thought was Italian for sucks, so he could fall back to earth at any time. I mean, I don't see that this team has what it takes to even make the playoffs at this point. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they do it. But Anthony got hurt. Everything's, all of the wind was taken out of their sails at that point. And I think they're in trouble right now, Tony.
Okay, so Justin, look, I think a lot of people do feel like you do. Now, your brother's math is generally right, but the math was true in 2011, too, and we saw the Red Sox completely fall apart. Now, that team had a bunch of overpaid, underachieving guys. This team feels more like some young guys who are willing to compete and fight, and some veterans who have some high character. I'd certainly put Alex Bregman in that group. And the back end of their bullpen is one of the problems in 2011, not that the comparison's perfect, but the bullpen faded down the stretch, too. Papelbon had nothing. And Aroldis Chapman looks absolutely unhittable still. So there are differences, but the bottom line is collapses can happen. And I keep saying this, that there was something that happened in yesterday's game in the dugout, not on the field, that did make me take note. And they took note of it during the broadcast. I was actually trying to find it. I couldn't find it. I'll go back and find it tonight. We'll play it tomorrow. But what it was Alex Cora basically hanging out in the middle of the dugout with coaches, interacting with coaches and players, yucking it up, laughing. I would say just acting in a way that is different from what he would normally do. When the game starts, Jimmy Stewart, where does Cora usually stand when the game starts? Do you notice?
He's usually top of the dugout on his bench. Like he's pretty close to the field. He's at like the closest point to home plate in the dugout.
Right. And in fact, I would say most every Red Sox manager that I've noticed is at that post, which is at the end of the dugout, closest to home plate, up on that first step, watching the game and managing.
Engaged in the game, Tony.
Bingo. He's running the game. That's his job. Yesterday, he was in the middle of the dugout, up by the barrier, laughing, telling stories. And I think it was, and they said this in the broadcast, so I don't want to steal it as my own. It's not like they weren't talking about it in the game. But I think it was all deliberate, as did they during the broadcast. And I think it was Cora passing the message on to his team. Just keep playing. We're good. I'm in a good mood. I'm not mad. I'm not flipping out. I'm not going to introduce tightness and stress and concern into this thing. We're just going to play. Just keep being you. But the fact that he did it tells me he felt there was a need to do it, if you can follow me. So look, Cora's been around the game a long time. My guess is after Saturday's loss, and they had lost 3 in a row, that he looked around and said, these guys might be starting to get tight. The last thing I need to do is turn the screws and get tight myself. So I'm going to ease up. I'm going to make sure everybody's loose, and I'm going to try to get them to go out and just do what they do. Now, they won the game. He pulled some strings at the end of the game, and you can say it was a good thing he did it, a bad thing he did it, whatever. I'm just telling you the fact that he was prompted to do it tells me that he's worried about his team getting tight. And that is what has me worried. That is what has me most worried. Now, they won the game. They get out of Arizona. Crochet's on the mound tonight against the A's. So maybe they've cleared the hurdle. But to me at this time of the year, and I said this last week and I'm going to be consistent with it, you live day to day at this time of year. Day to day. The games mean that much, particularly the guys who have never been in that spot before. Matt in Norwood on Aroldis Chapman. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Tony. What I see is what you're talking about here, where the team is playing what I call anxious. They feel like they should be in a better place. Roman Anthony, for sure, has hurt them. Maybe it's morale. I'm not sure what it is. All they need to do, get into the 8th inning and lead by 1. The way Chapman is pitching, I don't give a crap what you need to do at the end of this season. Get him in the game, shut it down, get these wins, get ahead of the Yankees, get as close to the Blue Jays as you can, and just be done with it. They're just playing so tight. They're not loose. They're making stupid mistakes. And I even think some of the guys, like even Trevor Story, I think he's playing injured. I mean, and that's fine. Like, real ballers play injured.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what do you expect?
So, Matt, look, I think basically if they can get to the game I wouldn't say just Chapman. I would say Whitlock and Chapman. It's basically what they did last night or yesterday. If they can get the game to those two guys, they're in good shape. That's been true all year for the most part. Maybe at the beginning a little bit. Whitlock looked a little rickety early in the year. I am shocked Chapman has been able to sustain this for an entire season. But the fact that Cora acted this way yesterday in the dugout after Saturday night's game should tell you that he was worried that they were getting tight. Saturday's game, there were breakdowns all over the place. So we played it for you already. One was Story letting a ball go under his glove, which is uncharacteristic. It was an easy play. Now, the ball might not have been hit hard enough to turn 2. It was going to be close. And undoubtedly, that is what forced Story to rush the play. But I would tell you, Trevor Story doesn't make that mistake. That is a take your eye off the ball, you're feeling pressure because of the base runner, and maybe something bigger kind of mistake. That's what that was. And the miscommunication in the outfield, I'd call it something unique, but it's happened a lot between Raphaela and Duran, and I do think Duran is the source of all of it. Because if you saw the catch that Raphaela made on Saturday night, it was really the kind of play that takes your breath away. It was an unbelievable catch. And I'm not someone who gets overly caught up on good outfield plays and diving catches. There has to be a lot at play for me to go, wow. And the play that Raphaela made to take a home run away, I think it was Corbin Carroll who hit the ball. Holy crap, what a catch. If you missed it, we'll play it for you here when we come back.
tried to make the play. Did he hurt himself?
Caught it.
He caught the ball. He caught it.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. He caught that. Unbelievable. He came down on his knees. He stole that thing from Carroll.
Torrey wants to take a look at this thing. You get a good look at it here. I thought maybe it went off the yellow.
No. He went over the yellow.
God.
And snatched that. What a play.
See the spike marks on the wall. He used the wall to get up even higher. This kid's unbelievable. How do you go get that one?
He was exulting. I thought for a moment he was in pain. He was screaming in joy. Look at this.
You got a foot on the wall to give him a little bit of height. He gets up over this. This is a catch of the year here from Sedan.
So you know what I usually say when I see a play like this? When I say like, I shouldn't say like this, but when I see a play on Sports Center that's like, top 10 plays, a guy goes above the wall, takes it out of the seats. I always thought, good God, would you keep it in your pants? Seriously. Like, it's got to be special to really get excited about. The one Raphaela made on Saturday night was special. And when I say that, it's not just about going above the top of the wall. I've seen a million guys get to the wall, set themselves, jump, catch it, come down. Now, usually that means the ball was hit high enough or they were deep enough to get to the base of the fence, jump, pull it down, no problem. The point being, if a major league outfielder can set up, he should be able to jump up and catch the ball if he's any good. And if it's above the wall, yes, he's taking a home run away, but it's not what I would call, in and of itself, a great catch. It was a valuable catch, but wasn't a great catch that made me say, there aren't many guys that could make that play, and he just made it. The one Raphaela made, I'm pretty sure, again, it was Corbin Carroll. He had to run a long way. He didn't have time to set up. And watch the replay. He doesn't extend his arm way above his head and catch it above the wall. He reaches horizontally so that he's running at the wall and his arm is extended. Again, his arm is basically perpendicular to the wall, level to the ground, reaching back to catch that ball. And he throws his glove out relatively late for that kind of play. I say relatively, meaning he kind of snatched it out of the seats or out of what would have been a home run. It was a ridiculous catch. So there are times where I look at plays and say, now that one impresses me. And that play by Raphaela on Saturday night, even in a loss, was an all-timer. What a play. He made a play earlier in the year where I told you he caught a ball over by the door of the Red Sox bullpen, which for a center fielder is a freaking long way to go. This was in a different direction. It was more straight back, a little to an angle, but he didn't have a lot of time. He had to cover a lot of distance, get the timing right, get the glove there, and to the point where Dave O'Brien didn't even think he had it. And I think anyone who saw the play live felt that way. It was a phenomenal catch. If you haven't seen it, go find it. I was one of many who put it up on your Twitter account or on X. You can find it there. It's worth the watch. It was a sensational play. Sensational. Anthony in Scottsdale. Go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, Maz, I had the displeasure of being at that game on Saturday, and one of the biggest things that I kind of noticed, and it looked like, kind of how they looked at the start of the year, but they just fell behind in every count. They didn't know how to work a count. They just looked lost at the plate. But aside from that, seeing that catch in person, real time, was core memory of mine. That's all I got.
Yeah, so Anthony, look, the lineup is compromised right now. It's just they're not good enough offensively. We all know that. Abreu's out. Anthony's out. They got a crap ton of injuries. There aren't a lot of, hitters in that lineup. You're going to have to find different ways to win. And playing the way they did on Saturday night is not the right way. When you're, letting ground balls go under your glove and having miscommunications in the outfield that lead to hits falling in, you're not going to win many games doing that. And you're not going to win many games if you don't pitch well, which Tolle didn't do on Friday night. If they get behind in most of these games, they're screwed. They have to stay in front. They've got to play good defense. They have to run the bases smartly. They're going to need to manufacture some runs. Crochet goes tonight. Should be a little different. You have your ace on the mound, although the last one wasn't great. And we have the question with him of fatigue. But you got to grind out some wins here, hope some other people lose, and see where you are in 10 days going into the final week. That's really what it comes down to. Mark in Florida on the return or lack thereof in the Raphael Devers trade. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, hi, Tony. I'm totally okay with getting rid of Devers. Not a good clubhouse guy, huge salary, blah, blah, blah. But you're losing 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, and you're replacing it with nothing. That was my biggest complaint. The lineup already wasn't very good. You're relying on Jarren Duran to bat third. He's a 250 hitter with minimal power. I can't look at the lineup card before the game. I have to wake up the next morning and look for the score.
So, Mark, you're not wrong. I would tell you, though, and thank you for the call, I would tell you, though, that I think where the biggest mistake was in what they got back really is in the pitching. You weren't going to get a hitter of Devers' caliber back, and you yourself said it was a salary dump, which it was. Which means you probably didn't get anything back. But the pitching they got back it feels like junk. Matt Harrison, with all the pitching issues that they have at the moment, Matt Harrison can't get a start.
Kyle Harrison.
What did I say, Matt? Kyle.
Of course, Matt was a left-hander for the Texas Rangers, most notably low ball, too.
Yes, very good, Jimmy. You remember him. Kyle Harrison can't get a start. So the fact that, and I understand there's an injury now, but the fact that it took him that long tells you that they don't think he's even close to ready. Hell, they've got Payton Tolle here, and he's not ready.
They're probably going to have to call up somebody else from Worcester who's not ready either.
And again, I'll get to Tolle here in a minute. Then who else am I leaving out? Hicks. Jordan Hicks, please. We don't even need to talk about that one.
And you have him for 2 more years at 22.
The first baseman they traded to the Dodgers for Dustin May. So they swapped him out for pitching, and Dustin May sucks. So that's 3 guys that they got as a result of the Devers deal who throw the ball, all of whom look like they suck.
Net negative there.
And who am I leaving out? Juan Bayo, who pitched today in A-ball and then went 5 innings and struck out 4 guys, walked a couple, 3 hits, no runs. Now, again, does that mean anything? My answer is no. He's an A-ball. He's not very big either. So he doesn't strike me as a durable kind of guy, but let's see.
0 for 4.
But I'll allow for calling Bayo a TBA or TBD, to be determined. The other 3 right now feel like suck. George in Malden. George, go ahead.
Hi. How can you call the Red Sox a good team when they lead the majors in errors? And every time they get men on base, they can't get them in. They leave them on base. They strike out too much.
I agree, George.
And the leadoff batter. Who's the leadoff batter now?
Yoshida.
Why?
Because he works the count.
Oh, come on. He doesn't get a hit. All he does is hit ground balls.
Yeah, George, I didn't say I liked him. You asked me who the leadoff hitter is. I said Yoshida. And I didn't say I liked their lineup. How could you? So I agree they have flaws. But when I describe them as a good team, first of all, I don't think I said they were a good team. But even so, they're a pretty good team. They're in the playoffs, which by definition makes them a pretty good team. Now, relative to what you expect or what you would call good baseball, do they play great baseball? No. Do they lapse into stages where they have their heads up their ass? Yes. When they're healthy, can they be entertaining and fun to watch? And when they play their best, are they pretty good? And my answer is yes. So their ceiling is still pretty high. Does that mean I think they're going to win the World Series? No. but it means that I think they're better than what they're showing right now. John in a car on the return on the Devers trade. Go ahead, John.
Tony, we all know you weren't going to get anything because of the fact that John Henry wanted to get rid of all of the money.
They dumped the money. That's right. They dumped the money.
So, but my problem is, why do I always feel like when the Red Sox make a trade over the last few years, they always get beat? At the end of the day, Tony, no matter who it is they trade, they always give up the wrong prospect or they get the wrong prospect in return. The same thing with May. I feel like you could have called the Dodgers and said, why don't you just let us take Dustin May? We'll just take the contract. We don't give you nothing. You don't have to worry about him anymore. It just feels like no matter in the last few years with these trades, I'd rather have Bobby Dahlbeck back than some of these guys they get back. And we all know how much we hated Bobby Dahlbeck. But that's the type of... There's just no outside-the-box thinking of they never outsmart anybody, I guess. Or they're always trying to outsmart them too much, and they never look at what's the task at hand, which is what I need to get that proper guy.
So, John, I was just going to say maybe it's too much outside-the-box thinking. Maybe they're trying to be too smart, identify a guy who they think has got some sort of great ceiling, and everyone else looks at it and goes, what? For example, when they made the deal with the Giants, do you remember what universally most everybody said about the trade? Everybody. I think we have audio in the system from J.P. Ricciardi talking about the trade. And again, he is a longtime evaluator whose general opinion on baseball talent I would trust implicitly.
And also worked for the San Francisco Giants at one point.
But so, you know what his assessment of it was? The Giants won the deal. I mean, the Giants won the deal in a landslide. Is basically what he said. I'm giving you the Felger and Maz translation of that. But everyone knew that the Giants didn't give up a crap ton of talent, that the Red Sox dumped the money. Everyone knew it. So there's no reason to I don't understand why the Red Sox wouldn't just admit that they dumped the contract. They wanted to get rid of the contract. But they know that would probably anger their fan base. It wouldn't if they put the money to use in somewhere else. And I'll just add quickly, because I still want to get to the Payton Tolle stuff, but I will just add quickly that, and now I lost my train of thought, Jimmy. It related to Devers, I think.
Devers won Player of the Month. The trade, no. Kyle Harrison can't break into the big league roster. Jordan Hicks sucks.
I know. The caller said, a couple callers ago said they didn't have anyone to replace Devers. And I would tell you they did. They didn't expect him to produce right away, but he did. And that was Roman Anthony. So I think they thought that by letting Devers go, Roman Anthony would grow into his spot in the batting order. And Roman Anthony would do it for a lot cheaper. And this was well before they signed him. And even so, it's still a lot cheaper than what Devers is making. But I think they thought Roman Anthony could become that kind of hitter. I don't think they expected him to have an OPS over 900 in his rookie season. He's been damn good, at least until they lost him.
And their offense hit the crapper over the last 4 games, Tony. The Red Sox offense, 222 average, 0 home runs, 3.5 runs per game.
I mean, again, no one should be surprised by this because we all knew it when Anthony went down. The question is whether or not they could find other ways to win. They got 1 in Arizona. 1. They're going to have to do better than that the next couple of weeks. If they have a horrible week, and I think this is a huge week for them because you're going to get all 3 of their good starters. Crochet's going to pitch twice. So they got to win 4 games this week or something close to it. If they do that, they're in good shape. If it goes the other way, then I think it could be, by this time next week, could be time to press the panic button. I'll give you my thoughts on Payton Tolle when we come back.
births.
Oh, I like this.
It's the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz on the Sports Hub.
1 week, he went from a guy who looked like he could be a force to a guy who looked like he wasn't ready for the big leagues. And when I say that, I know it sounds like your typical talk radio extremism, but the fact of the matter is that the outings were that different. And when I say he looked like a guy that wasn't ready for the big leagues, let's remember that Tolle was rushed when they brought him up. His fastball is very good. Although I will say he didn't command it on this most recent Friday like he did the first time out, and the velocity was down a tick. So instead of hitting 97, 98 with regularity, he was closer to 95, 96. That doesn't sound like much, but it is. And he threw more off-speed stuff, which I didn't like. The big leagues are not player development, as someone once famously said. So they're a place to win games. You want to develop them, leave them in the minors. You brought him up here because you needed the help. So let him throw his fastball. Now, he didn't have his best fastball on Friday night. I still think it was his best chance. Although one of the home runs he gave up, the 3-run homer, was on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. It was a 3-run homer, however, because he walked the 2 previous batters, which brings me to my final point. Tolle lets it fly when he's on the mound. And his delivery is a little all over the place. Not bad, not super bad, but a little all over the place. And if he's a little off, he's going to miss a lot, particularly with the off-speed stuff. His body sort of falls towards the third base dugout, while his arm is kind of angled towards the first base dugout. So you can sort of see he's kind of tilted when he releases the ball. So if the release is not consistent, the release point, the ball's going to go all over the place, which is what happened on Friday night. He couldn't throw strikes. So he walked guys, got himself into trouble, and his adrenaline wasn't pumping like it was the first time out, which is understandable, and he wasn't very good. Is it the worst outing I've ever seen? No. But if the Red Sox are going to have him here, let him throw his freaking fastball. Don't worry about developing the off-speed stuff. And I know that some teams have better fastball hitters than others. Get 4 innings out of him and run. And if he can do it with only a fastball, essentially, and I don't mean 100% of the time, but I mean only his fastball thrown at 70% of the time, so be it. Get what you can out of him. Don't put it on him. Kevin Majori's got your headlines. Is Joe Murray in here tonight, Jimmy? Okay, Joe Murray in studio. He'll have you for the balance of the night. We'll catch you tomorrow.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ-FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand.